In theory, it is broadcasting, but I've never tried making a live directly from OBS. All right.
Oh, cool. We're live.
Okay, that works. I'm going to mute that site.
Me too.
Perfect. So I guess right now we are live.
Yep.
All right, awesome. So, welcome. For the first time ever, I'll do my best with trying to hear you, and we'll see how that goes.
This is our first. Yeah, first podcast. This is interesting.
Yeah, so if you are, you can do a quick introduction of yourself. We met over Twitter, right? Or X. I don't know what you call it now. But
I still call it Twitter. I'm diehard call it Twitter the whole time. That's just the way I go. But we met over Twitter. I'm Thomas. I'm from Ireland. Big Formula One fan, and yeah, I like to talk a lot of shite about Formula One on Twitter and TikTok.
perfect. That's what we're looking for, right? What could be more? What could be better than that?
Exactly.
And just for reference for any viewers or future viewers, favorite drivers?
Favorite drivers. Ooh, it's a tough one because I like a lot of the drivers. I wouldn't support everyone, but I've kind of got like my kind of out of the top ones. Like Lewis would be my favorite. Then you've kind of got the midfield battle, and I'm not quite sure who I support in that midfield. I suppose would you consider Williams to be midfield right now?
Uh, High
He'd be
midfield?
kind of back. Yeah, I if we're saying Williams is midfield, I'd be backing Franco.
Oh man, I
Um,
love Franco. I love the job he's been doing.
oh, he's so funny. Like I really hope that they don't PR train him into the ground. It would actually ruin him. I feel.
Yeah, and the fact that he had the Grand Prix that he managed to have, he had the one in
Mm,
Mexico as well, and now in Brazil. I think it's
yeah,
amazing for the support basically from the South Americans for him. Well, again,
yeah,
Mexico's not in South America, but still.
yeah. No, I think that like he I really hope that the PR training doesn't ruin his personality like it did for George. Like I feel that George is so PR trained now that it's you know what he's gonna say when it comes to asking him a question. Whereas Franco, he could say literally anything.
And
So
that's I
I
have a pet
really hope
peeve
that.
with the Mercedes drivers, both of them, and I feel like it's something that George picked up from Lewis as well. Is thanking everybody back at the factory. We take a shot every time we hear them say they're gonna thank everybody back at the factory whenever they get a good result.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Or Lewis in the interview saying, "Thanks so much to the fans, the best fans in the world." Like I'm a Lewis fan, but I even notice it sometimes. It's like, right, okay, so these are the best fans in the world, or were they the ones last week, or what's the story?
They're all the best fans in the world. And actually, I
Yeah.
think on Twitter I saw something where they're hiring a stylist now for the
Oh, I
team.
find that hilarious. They have no shame. Like Lewis, who's kind of big into fashion, is now leaving, and they decide, okay, he's gone. We need a fashion like stylist.
Man, that's funny. Yeah, I wonder how you could apply for that job. What would the prerequisites be? Like, I know I have no sense of fashion, but I think it'd be a fun way to travel to these different Grand Prix.
I mean, you miss every shot you don't take.
Hey,
So
that's the spirit.
you might as
So,
well put your.
unfortunately, we didn't get to see any actual qualifying today. That will probably be tomorrow morning. I think that'll be very early for you, but we decided to do this
Yeah.
anyways. Go ahead with it today. We did get some action on track.
Yep.
Thoughts on that?
I thought the sprint was interesting. I think, firstly, Checo actually performed quite well, which I was pleasantly surprised by. I feel like he's kind of driving for his seat because he's in the boat where there's rumors going around that he might be gone after this race.
Yeah.
So I think he's like trying to show them like, here, leave me in.
Do
Don't sub
you
me out yet, coach.
think? Yeah. Do you think he has any chance to keep his seat?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
Okay, so we're in the same
He's
boat
not
on
done
that.
enough for he's not done enough for Red Bull to keep him in the seat. Like he's cost them first into constructors, and it's just I don't see them holding on to him.
And if somehow Max does end up losing the drivers' championship, that could also somehow be brought back to Checo and the lack of support that Max has received throughout the entire season.
Yeah, because it's literally been Max Verstappen racing this whole season because Checo's not been there to support him.
Yeah, it's
You've
been
got two
tough.
McLarens. Well, sometimes it's only one McLaren depending on Piastri because sometimes Piastri's qualifying is a bit iffy. I think it's just kind of near rookie type, like new driver type vibes that he's struggling to get up to speed with it. But I do feel he's got what it takes to be up there. But it'll just take him a year or two. But then you've got both Ferraris as well up there, and they're quick at the minute.
Right. There's so many different things we can touch on. I don't even know which direction to go because from that statement alone, I could go on a tangent and say that I think Piastri is going to be better than Norris, and that I think it's a shame that Sainz has to leave Ferrari for Lewis. But it's too early for that.
Ooh, that's two bold statements. From what I'm hearing from certain rumors, is that Carlos is actually going to Red Bull now, and
Yeah.
that Franco is staying with Williams, which I am definitely not opposed to. I'm really happy with Franco getting to keep a seat for next season.
Hmm. I haven't heard that rumor actually. So it would be Carlos going to Red Bull
Yep,
and Colapinto staying at Williams. Well, that'd make things very interesting next year.
it would. It'd be very interesting.
Because I was seeing other
Um,
rumors that Colapinto is going directly to Red Bull, and there's always these crazy rumors going around.
yeah, though the silly season is going really silly this year.
It started very early too with Lewis.
Yeah, I don't even think that it meant to start that early.
I don't think so either.
Lewis's kind of move to Ferrari was not meant to come out that
No.
early.
I think that was as much as I'm a fan, I think that was an internal Ferrari leak for the PR.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Like if you think about it, they're like what was it first quarter like figures were meant to come out like the week after or something. So like leaking that and then going up by what 600 million in a
Oh,
day.
the stock shot up that day, and the next day was crazy.
It was absolutely insane how much his like how much Hamilton's like global influence in all the industries that he's involved in can influence Ferrari's like Ferrari, pretty much the biggest car brand in the world,
Yeah,
and
and
their stock
it's
influence that much.
yeah, and I think it's also paradoxical in a way because from a character standpoint, I don't see Lewis fitting in perfectly in the Italian uh, conservative traditional way that Ferrari runs their team, whereas Lewis is very
Yeah,
progressive and liberal and equality and everything that Ferrari isn't fully. Although they have gotten better
yeah,
with it, it's not to the level of Mercedes where it's maybe half the factory's female at this point with Ferrari.
yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting to see how that goes next year.
Well, apparently they like had talks about it and that they're going to be working on kind of diversifying the place and also like supporting Lewis's charities and different foundations and stuff. So like his payment is 100 million or something for the year, and then he's also getting his bonuses from whatever he gets in the year to
Insane.
just going to his charities. He's not taking any of it. It's just all going to his charities.
How crazy is that? I mean, that's good on him, right? Obviously, that's a great act, but man, those sums are
But at the
ridiculous.
same at the same time, he's getting a lot.
Yeah.
He's getting enough.
Well, and what about the other one? Lando and Piastri. Do you see Piastri being better anytime soon?
I do see Piastri getting better, and I can't call it now, but with the with the way unless Lando kind of matures a bit more and kind of like gets rid of the kind of the mindset. It's not even a mindset. It's more of a kind of a distraction type thing where when he's kind of in the lead, he's got this kind of tendency to drop it a bit, and like because when you see him chasing down, he's mega and he has got quality, but the
Hmm.
mentality at some certain points just drops, and it's I don't know. It kind of tends to lead me to think that Piastri might have more of the mentality.
For a while today, I truly didn't think he'd be giving up that position. I thought once again McLaren
Yeah,
completely screwed up their strategy, and I thought Piastri was going to stick it to them and just be like, no, I'm not giving
yeah,
that, which
yeah.
would have been a bold
But
move.
it would have been a very bold move, and I do think it would have been bad on him not to
Yeah,
do it, especially after what happened in Hungary.
yeah, absolutely. That's what I would say. It was, and
Like
it,
they're the same scenario, but very different points difference based on the position. So it would have like today there was what a point swing of one. In Hungary, it was a point swing of seven. Like
yeah,
they're
it's,
vastly different, but the morals behind it stay the same. I think.
exactly. And maybe if Norris wouldn't have given back that position in Hungary, then I think definitely he would have stuck it out and
Yeah.
not handed swap positions.
Oh, definitely.
But they got very
If
lucky. I don't know. Conspiracy theories over here as well.
well, the virtual safety car that they got was called at the perfect time.
Yeah, I think I don't really understand. I mean, I might be wrong, but isn't the idea the safety of the driver? Like, wouldn't have had to come out while he's still in the car and the cars are flying by him?
That's what my thought would have been, but like there is the kind of the consideration for like of the drivers that are still on track that when they see double yellows they're meant to slow down, but at the same time I'm kind of like yeah, but for the safety of the driver and possibly marshals coming out on the track to try like move the car, they need to bring it out when he's kind of getting out of the car.
Hmm.
Like we saw last year, like literally just a year ago, there was a crash at that exact corner, and it sent the car into the tire wall. So if he sat there, like he's literally a sitting duck in that situation. If there was to be a crash, they really should have brought out VSC earlier.
I thought so too. I thought so too. And it would have looked horrible on McLaren if did come out earlier and they didn't manage to swap those positions beforehand.
Oh, yeah, it would have, but they timed it to perfection. I feel, and the VSC did just come in the nick of time. Like in the end, it wouldn't have made much of a difference, I think, because of Max's. Well, you never know. Actually, he might have not speeded under the VSC if he was ahead of Piastri, but who knows?
Yeah, I also
Time for
thought that
everything
was
to be
yeah. But do you think honestly that Lando has a chance this year at catching Max?
I don't know. It really depends on what happens tomorrow if qualifying goes ahead, because I know that it's meant to be torrential rain from now on. So I don't know if quality doesn't go ahead and they do end up using the free practice like order as the starting grid. It could be championship back on. if Lando was to go on and win that race, but there's no guarantee that he will win the race. He could spin off. Max could spin off. Leclerc could go through, win the race. It's back on for three of them. Three of them
It's
fight for the title.
yeah, it's crazy that it feels like years since we've had something that even resembled a title fight.
Yeah.
But so to the Brazilian Grand Prix, do you think that McLaren, especially after seeing the sprint race today, do you think that they're the favorites?
Oh, it would be a tough one because we haven't actually seen any wet weather running yet. So we don't. Google Home just decided to start talking. Uh, we haven't seen any wet weather running so far this weekend. So I don't we don't know who's the favorite in the wet weather. We know that Mercedes are fairly quick when it comes to cooler temperatures. Ferrari believe that they're very quick when it comes to the wet weather. So it could be up in the air tomorrow.
And there was another report I just saw. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
The main team that I feel did not want qualifying to go ahead were McLaren, because I feel that the other teams have something up their sleeve when it comes to the wet weather.
But they're also saying it's supposed to be a wet race tomorrow, right? So I think either way, McLaren could be in a little bit of trouble if
Yeah.
that's the case.
Oh, 100%. I think they're hoping for that FP1 scenario where Max starts from last.
Yeah. But again, how do they decide that? Because there were reports that maybe they'll use the World Driver standings and they'll use the
I don't
FP1. So,
Personally, I don't think that they'll use the World Drivers standing. I think that they might go with the sprint qualifying, because from the regulations I was looking at, the FP1 thing, if there wasn't a classification that type of way, that they'd have to use free practice. But technically, from doing the sprint qualifying and sprint race, all of the drivers have been classified as taking part in the race weekend. So they would have to go back to the last session, which would probably have been the sprint race or sprint qualifying,
and
depending
here's
on the weather.
another interesting question. Is Kevin Magnussen allowed to race then? Or does Ollie Behrman have to take it?
Ollie Behrman has been confirmed
Oh,
that
for the whole
he's
weekend. Yeah,
the whole
that's my.
weekend.
Yeah,
So
I thought Kevin was coming back, and I just thought of something magical.
yeah, it would have been crazy if he was coming. It could all happen, all change before tomorrow anyway. Like, there could still be a case that he starts the race tomorrow somehow. Who knows?
That would
Very
be
interesting.
wild.
We've
No,
seen
I
too
like
many
Ollie
things
Behrman.
happen.
Yeah, for the first time in a while, I'm excited about the rookies in Formula One.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to next year. Seeing Kimi racing for like a few years now. I've been looking forward to him getting Formula One, because like I from watching Alex Dunn racing against him, I've seen him racing and like followed him since watching the Italian F4 a couple years ago. That I do see that he does have the qualities to be a multi-world champion. I feel.
Yeah, he's quick, and I think he also has the charisma about him somehow. He still looks like a child right now, but
Yeah.
you can feel that he's gonna be beloved by the fans and the media overall.
Yep. Oh, 100%. And what I love as well is that there was been so much pressure on him this year, and he doesn't seem to have cracked.
No, no, he
So
was good.
that's a huge thing for him going forward.
I mean, except FP1 in at Monza.
Yeah, but I think that was more like the surface of the parabolica was a bit iffy that weekend. I'm pretty sure, because like
The
even the
safety
safety
car
car
went
went
right
off.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that was more of a suspension issue. I think it was. But even at that, Kimi was just trying to push it as hard as he could. Like I remember the first lap that he put in would have been good enough for top 10 in the race, wasn't it, or
Oh,
something
it
like
was
that?
rapid that first lap.
It was
I
a
don't remember what the
really
time
really
was.
quick lap, and like
And
and then he was pushing more in the second lap, and he just went too much for the car.
I also saw this video where he remembers every single lap time he's ever had in qualifying.
Oh, crazy! I was watching
Incredible.
it there at the video, and I was like, how?
It's like photographic memory, but like lapographic memory.
Yeah, he's got it. That's some crazy talent.
Then I think, obviously, I could already imagine him going to Ferrari at some point in the future, bringing an Italian back home.
Yeah, I could see him switching over to Ferrari in the future. Definitely, it would be kind of like following Hamilton's kind of path of going Mercedes then to Ferrari. That I could see him kind of following that footstep, especially with him being a huge fan of Lewis growing up.
Yeah,
It
but
would
I
be it
I
would be
do feel for Russell, however.
yeah. Russell was meant to be the next best thing for Mercedes, and now Kimmy's come along, and there's talks of Max going to Mercedes, and Russell's just been kind of forgotten about. But it seems to be a thing that's happened a few times with Mercedes. Like you've got Vesti, and you've got Paul Aaron, who's dropped by them for this season. You've got Gutierrez, Ocon, like all like Ocon. Obviously, he's got his drive with Haas now and that, but all these drivers that were kind of said, "Oh, stick with us. You're going to be the best." Blah blah blah, and then the next best thing comes along, and they're
They
tossed
switch
aside.
over quickly. Yeah,
So it's the harsh realities of Formula One, I suppose.
that's true. That's true. So for tomorrow, if you had to put right now your top five on the qualifying grid, what would you do? Before
Top five
penalties.
qualifying,
So,
4 penalties. I'd put if it's a wet qualifying, and I I have a feeling that it could be not in a specific order. Top five before penalties. Uh, Lando, Max, Lewis, George. I'm between Alonso and Leclerc for the other one of the top five. And if one of them, like whichever one of them is in the top five, the other one will be in sixth. That would be
mhm.
my feeling. Especially if Aston managed to sort out their problems because they were 10th fastest today or something, which is terrible. The
I just
fact
think
that
so.
they've put so much money into like upgrades and being second best. What was it like
Last year, I
last
think, at the
year?
beginning, yeah.
Yeah, and now they're one of the worst cars on the grid. Their progression is just terrible compared to what McLaren have done, where basically every upgrade that comes in, it gives them a couple of tenths. Aston, it looks like every upgrade that comes in takes away a few tenths. So, but hopefully we'll be in for a really good race tomorrow after that qualifying.
Hopefully. And hopefully come 2026, I think, no, is when, or no, next year, Newey's coming over to the team.
Oh yeah, to Aston. So be interesting to see if he will influence much.
Sorry, 1 second. Kendall. My dog's sleeping, and I think he's having a mini dream. And he's whimpering.
Oh yeah, pets tend to do that.
1 second. I have to wake him up. Alright, that should be good. I hope. Sorry?
Is he all good?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Good.
He's an old one. 13 years almost.
Oh wow. We lost our dog at the start of the year, so
Oh. think it's hard.
Yeah. But anyway, back to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Getting off topic. What would your prediction be for the top five in qualifying and then possibly for the race?
So sorry, you said Lando would be first.
I didn't say in any specific order. I just listed
Oh,
out
top.
Lando, Matt, George,
Okay.
and Leclerc and Alonso.
If it's wet, if it's torrential rain,
Yeah.
I think Max will get pole. If it's raining.
Yeah. Yeah.
If not, I think it would be Lando. I do think he'll lock in tomorrow because he has to.
Yeah.
Like you said, obviously I think Piastri will be there. Max will be there. Charles is always my wild card because I love him as a driver, but I think that the one main weakness he has is driving in the wet. He's just not as dialed in. Lewis, I think, can.
Lewis getting in there?
I think so, top five, yeah, if it rains.
If it's raining, definitely I see Lewis getting into the top five. But if it's dry, P7 or P11, they're the only two options I see Lewis getting. I'm really looking forward to him being in Ferrari next year. Not so much for how their strategies go, but for the fact that we're dealing with the Mercedes, which has the working window of, I suppose, a keyhole.
Yeah, it's crazy trying to hit it.
It's like, and they try running it really close to the ground, and then it just starts bouncing and doesn't work, and then they raise it a bit and it's slower, and it's just, that car is just a monster.
Yeah, I mean they managed some decent performances with it, but it feels like they've fallen off as well at this point. It's like mid-season when they had any type of competition in that car.
Yeah, it feels like they're kind of on a downward spiral at the minute, and that it's not going to be going any better in the next year or so. So I suppose that means, like, because most teams will carry over to next year because of 2026 regulations and that. Like, they might make a few upgrades before the new year, but most of what they'll be doing is from 1st of January 2026.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, it makes sense to be focused on the future, if anything.
Oh, 100%. Everyone wants to get these new regulations right, because if they don't, they're behind for another 4 years, and you won't catch up.
I mean, we saw how difficult it was for everybody against Red Bull at the start of these. Although Ferrari started off strong as well, so.
They did, but they fell off fairly quick, and that is very disappointing.
It's a combination of Binotto and just strategy and everything else, and lack of upgrades. And
I still remember the memes of Binotto being like they changing his curly hair to like brown hair.
Yeah, I still use that in a lot of videos. The pit wall when they're all turned around looking and they're all clowns.
Yeah.
I actually did make my prediction on BoxBox. I don't know if you've managed to get onto the app yet or try it out yet.
I haven't got onto it yet. I have to go on and try it out.
Yes, that's the next thing I am going to get you probably tomorrow to do. But the return on Norris when I got in earlier this week was about a 6 RPT. So like basically it was 6 tickets for every 1 ticket you put in there, which I thought was crazy that it was that high.
That's
and yeah, because now after the spring qualifying, because they update in real time essentially, now it's 1.5, which is a lot less.
Oh, yeah, that makes much more sense.
Yeah, it's much much more reasonable, but that again shows why it's beneficial to get it as early as possible, right after one race ends, to go for the next race, because then if you're confident in your driver, I don't know, I would like to have Leclerc winning every time. That's what my heart says, but it doesn't correlate. I would if I could, you know. I'm thinking for Vegas, for sure I'm going to upgrade my account probably and just put it all on on Leclerc, because I think Ferrari's going to be good at Vegas.
Yeah, got a solid chance because, from my understanding, is their straight line speed recently is quite good.
Hmm.
So, and that mega long straight down the Vegas Strip will be huge when it comes to that. So,
Oh
I
yeah.
wouldn't be surprised to see a Ferrari 1-2 at the Vegas Grand Prix.
I don't want to jinx it, but if that's what you're
Don't
looking
expect
for,
I'm
you
just
heard it
saying,
here first. Thomas, Ferrari 1-2 Vegas.
you can clip me on that.
I'll clip you on, and I'm holding it
I'll
to you. I want to check your box account next week and see that you have to pick which driver though. Not
okay.
yet, but you'll have to pick which one.
Oh, yeah. Who?
And there's only one right answer according to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
It'll be close. It'll be close.
Very close.
It's a shame, right? Because I would have wanted to go over some of the possible returns as well in box after the qualifying, which we can't do because we didn't have the qualifying. But
Yeah.
some of them are still incredibly high. I mean, if it was
Oh,
you,
really?
what chances would you give Piastri to win the race, given the context, given everything?
Given the context of the wet weather and everything like that, I give him like 1 in 5 chance, I suppose.
He has a 7.5 time return if he is to win to race.
Oh, oh wow. So that's like, well, fair enough.
Yeah, it's insane. And Verstappen, although he has the 5 grid penalty,
Yeah.
13 times return.
Jeez. I suppose that could also be fucking countering in that there possibly a chance that they're starting from free practice positions.
Maybe, but imagine if he starts just in 6th, or what did he qualify? He qualified at 4th. If they take the sprint
Fourth.
races,
Yeah.
then he'd qualify 9th, or he'd start in 9th. But either way,
It's still a then and like if he's in the wet, I have a feeling that he could be a lot quicker. So it'd be interesting.
even if he's not a lot quicker, I just think that McLaren will be a lot slower, like you said. They're just not.
Yeah. I don't think they've got it in them for the wet weather. I just don't. I don't feel that they're quick enough in cooler temperatures.
Any chances for Aston Martin? You think Alonso can win it?
Not a hope.
150 return.
150. I'd be willing to put a ticket or two on that just
Yeah.
to see.
Hey, that's a strategy. That's what I would do. Last weekend, I know I had a couple tickets on Perez who had 188 return. Obviously, it didn't hit because it's Perez, and
Yeah.
we can't really rely on him lately. But man, it's definitely a strategy. I mean, you can't. There's so many ways to go about it. We'll definitely have to set you up with one of the accounts soon.
Oh, definitely. I have to get on there and get it set up. That'll be interesting to see how it'll get on.
To see you on the leaderboard, we'll see. We'll see who can make those predictions long term.
If we're going off my F1 fantasy, which I completely forgot I existed until last week, it is not looking good. I had one really good week for F1 fantasy, which was China, I think. I got like 260 points or something.
Damn.
But other than that, like there was a few weeks where I was in the minus,
Mm.
so it wasn't.
I never got into the. I remember I used to play NBA fantasy back in high school on ESPN, but I never got into the Formula One. I never understood it. I downloaded the app. I tried to join Matt and Tommy's group. I just didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, no, I couldn't get into the F1 version because of all the things you have to go through to get to it. Whereas, like, I got into kind of the Fantasy Premier League
Mm-hmm.
because there's just the app and it's easy to get into it and you're able to just easily change people out in that. But
Yeah, exactly.
the F1 Fantasy, it's just too complicated.
And there's no I think on F1 Fantasy they have the price as well, right? Like the salary cap for drivers. And yeah, I remember for NBA at least, you just have a draft. So like me and the boys would get together and we would just do a draft. And there's no salary caps, there's no nothing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, there's like 100 million budget or something on the F1 Fantasy. Same as Fantasy Premier League, I'm pretty sure. But then, if you were to trade someone out after their price going up, you'd get over the 100 million that type of way.
Hmm.
But then there's the risk of if your like driver or team goes down in value, you'd be going below 100 million.
But this money doesn't actually translate to anything, though. It's just
Yeah, it just makes it harder for you to buy other drivers.
other drivers. I see. Well, interesting. Anyways,
Yep.
yeah, no, I think the box is much easier at this point because you just pick your tickets.
It seems that it's more predictions based, other than trying to get people to get the most points for you.
Yeah, because you just pick one driver and that's the one you're going for.
Yeah, and it adds a bit more excitement to the racing, I suppose.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see if my predictions end up hitting tomorrow. You know, I'll be happy for my drivers. Sorry?
If you predict who tomorrow?
Oh, if the predictions I have, because I do have a couple tickets on Leclerc, and I'm still waiting. I always leave a couple until after qualifying to see who qualifies where. And then even if the return's lower, I like to go safe. So last week I put a couple extra tickets on Carlos because I thought, you know, at least there's a chance. Then of course some on Lando, some on Max because I was thinking they could fight. But I was happy when Carlos ended up winning, both as a Ferrari fan and then as a, you know, just made some extra box tokens.
Happy days.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I might be waiting for waiting for the Mercedes to get good again before I be back in Hamilton on anything.
Or who knows, once next season at Ferrari.
Maybe that might be the next opportunity.
That first race is going to be hectic.
Oh, it'll be chaos. I'm looking forward to it though.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. I can't believe that we've already had, what's been 20 races? No, this is the 20th, 21st.
Yeah. Yep.
When I go on the F1 TV, I have to scroll all the way down to get to this week.
It's actually kind of insane how many races we've had this year. It's kind of hard to remember most of them actually.
You just said China, and I was like, I don't even know what happened in China. It's been so long.
I remember watching the sprint in the bus going to a film festival. That was kind of like, it was chaotic to try watch it in the bus because we went through a place where it was a dead zone and it just froze on like Lando. Like I think it was actually at the start. It froze on Lando taking off at the start, and then I came back and it was like he was in what, third or fourth or something. I was like, what happened?
I mean, you could have guessed, honestly.
Yeah. So it was an interesting experience to watch the sprint on the bus.
I remember for Imola, we were going to a wedding, so we were also on the road, and we were watching the qualifying session for Imola, and that's when Ferrari had promised their big upgrades before Imola, and I was so hopeful that Leclerc would get pole. It kept cutting in and out because we're in a forest area, and then I think he qualified fourth or whatever. It was demoralizing. Like, oh.
I can imagine. Yeah, I hate that as well. Watching it online and getting like the delay, and then seeing the Twitter pop up saying,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, they only finished like whatever. They didn't get pulled." And you're there watching the lap, and you're like, "Yeah, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it." No.
And then it freezes at the worst moment, and then you get the notification from Twitter, and then you're pissed off for the rest of the day.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had that feeling. It's crazy how a bunch of drivers can affect our day so much.
Oh, it's tell me about it. Between Mercedes and Hamilton at the minute, and me being a Man United fan, I don't have much luck in sport.
Oh man. I
It's
coming from Canada, I'm a big Raptors fan, Toronto Raptors fan, and we struggled every year until we finally won. I don't know if you watch too much basketball or not, but they finally won the championship in 2018. And I was
yeah,
extremely happy, but also a bit upset because I felt like it just happened too early in life. I felt like I was still young. I wanted to struggle for another 20 years to feel that championship.
yeah. Well, to make it even worse, I started watching United the 2012, like 2011, 2012 season. First game I watched was the one where we lost the Premier League title in the last minutes to the Aguero goal in the last few, like the extra time, and then saw the season where Alex Ferguson retired and they won the title, and haven't seen any success since, and it's been demoralizing.
I can imagine. It's hard being a sports
But
fan.
oh, it's hard how they can influence how your mood will be for that entire week.
Yeah. But anyway, so we have our predictions for tomorrow. Uh,
Yep.
we'll probably do another one of these tomorrow evening after the race,
Yep.
if the race happens. Hopefully it happens,
If it happens.
because we didn't get
Fingers crossed.
much. Yes.
Oh,
Hopefully it happens.
I'm praying it does. I'm praying it does because it'll be the first time that my girlfriend will be watching Formula One, and I'm really hoping that we've got a good race on.
Yes, that's this
If
can
we don't, it'll be like so this is all it is. I'm like,
yeah, this can dictate a lot of your relationship going forward. How
yeah.
much fun these weekends are. Yeah.
But fingers crossed. Actually, I see that she's commented in the chat, so fingers crossed. It'll be good. Yeah, we'll be hoping that tomorrow will be a good race and it won't be a boring one. I was gonna get her to watch Mexico, but things worked out that she wasn't able to watch. And at the time, I was kind of like, "Whew, thank God, it's Mexico. It's never a good race."
This
And
year
then we
was
get one.
good race.
Well, this year seems to be any race that's meant to be boring is not boring, and the ones that aren't meant to be or aren't meant to be boring are the ones that are boring.
Right?
It's it's the way it is, I suppose.
Well, then I hope you guys have a hectic race, whatever that may be. Last thing,
Yeah,
top three off the top of your head tomorrow. Podium.
podium tomorrow. Torrential downpours.
Yes.
Max, Lewis, George.
In that order?
In that order, I'll say.
All right. You heard it here first.
I could be completely wrong, and
Hey,
I
that's why
probably
it's a prediction.
but it's what I feel that Max will have that pace going into qualifying, and that he'll be able to he'll be able to get it across the line. But I do feel that like Lewis and George, they might not have the pace in qualifying, but they will definitely have it in the race when it comes to wet weather.
Especially if it's colder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Then I look forward
What
to
about
it.
you?
I personally, I'll also go Max. I want to put Lando third, but I don't know who I'm going to put second. I'll put Carlos. Let's say Carlos has a good wet session. Yeah.
It's not too bad in the wet. You like think back to Singapore when it was kind of changeable conditions and he won it in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, except this year when there was no conditions and he hit the wall. But it's okay.
True, true. But we'll forget about that one.
Yeah, we'll leave that one out. No problem.
Yeah,
Awesome. Then,
cool.
have a great evening. Enjoy qualifying. And I'll see you tomorrow.
I probably won't even see qualifying because I'll be working.
It'll be early.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I'm
You
getting
gotta pull out the phone again and do the streaming. Like,
Yeah. that's cool.
All right.
Talk
Yes.
again about it tomorrow.
For sure.
Hopefully I'll
Awesome.
have a place.
Hopefully. All right. Until next time. Papa.
Bye.